No, Alexis, you fool. She done told Jules over here blinking like crazy trying to tell Alexis. I said eventually he probably gonna gain some type of function, the ability to write or something. But yeah, Willow finally got to see her kids. Wiley told Rick that Chase had Michael Keys, and Rick told Turner and Dante. I said, Chase, you in trouble now, buddy. You done messed up. Brooklyn finally agreed to start a family with Chase. Reunited with her family. She saw Nathan at the end of the episode. And the last thing is that Elizabeth still being a fool just like Chase, still supporting Willow. I said I was hoping that she seen her in jail, but she probably wouldn't even be suspicious of it. Hold on. But hey, y'all, welcome back to another video. This is for General Hospital, February 19th, 2026. First things first. Let me know y'all thoughts on this episode down below. I think tomorrow's episode is supposed to be dedicated to Anthony, the man that played Luke. If I'm not mistaken, I think the spoiler said that tomorrow's episode is that. So I don't think, or I don't know if they're going to actually air anything else, y'all. It might not be till Monday. But yeah, Chase, you in trouble now because now it's looking like you did it. First, they was already accusing him of tampering with the video. Now, you don't mess with the keys or whatever. And then Willow over here looking knowing doggone well she the reason why. She the reason why. I said, yeah, you going to get caught slipping now, girl. Both of y'all. That do make it look like Chase was trying to set him up. Especially when Nathan reveals that Chase is the one that had the idea about getting the keys in the first place. He already told Dante. Matter of fact, he did tell Dante that. But okay, so where do we begin? I guess Dante, Nathan, Turner, they was talking. Well, Turner didn't come till later. Dante and Nathan was talking. Dante said that Nathan has to talk to Michael. He can't do it or whatever. And he was like, he don't think he gonna be able to get nothing out of him. And they both was talking about basically it'd be stupid of Michael to put the evidence or leave the evidence there. Turner came later in the episode talking about something, unless he, slipped up and he was just too cocky and stuff like that. And I was like, girl, she said maybe his arrogance finally caught up to him and everything. I said, you thinking about Sonny. I said, you thinking about Sonny, that's what it is. I mean, Michael does have this little energy about him. Or not energy, but the way he acts sometimes. I guess he is arrogant like his daddy. But yeah, hold on. So yeah, they was talking about questioning Michael. Nathan ends up calling Michael, telling him to come to the police station. He was like, can he do it later? He got to go drop off his kids. He was like, no, you need to come down now. So when he got there, he was like, he wanted to question him, but he didn't have his lawyer there. He was like, still trying to reschedule. He was like, no, we got to backtrack. He's supposed to be dropping the kids off so Willow can see the kids and everything. And Rick agreed to go by himself. So before they left, Rick was waiting on Amelia. And he was like, is Daddy in trouble or something? Because he said he had to go to the police station. He was like, no, he just got to pick up his keys. He was like, the keys that Uncle Chase had? I said, you in trouble, buddy. I said, you in trouble. I was waiting on Rick to say it. I was waiting. I was like, is he going to tell it or not? But yeah, he was like, you mean the keys that Uncle Chase had? I said, yeah, buddy, you done messed up because they're looking like you set him up. It's definitely looking like that. That's what you get for trying to be Captain Save a psychopath. You didn't know if he had, you don't know nothing about none of this stuff. He didn't even think that was Tracy's key that she said she had or whatever. I said, yeah, you done messed up bad. So I wonder if they're going to try to charge him or question him about it or what. But yeah, first Michael was saying he's not going to say anything without his attorney. He tried to call Diane. She couldn't do it. So that's when Rick came. And he was like, he told him beforehand on the phone, he was like, I never had a key to Drew's house, so I don't know what's going on. And when Wiley told him that he was on the phone with him, he's like, don't say anything until he get there. So he finally made it. Before he made it, when he dropped out the kids, Elizabeth was there. She came to support her and everything, brought some cupcakes that Aiden had made, I think. And Rick looked up and he seen Elizabeth. I said, not right now. I said, not right now. I said, we ain't got time for y'all two to be flirting and kissing and all this extra stuff. Take your tail to the police station. I said, not right now. Hold on. I said, we ain't got time for that. Look, I was waiting on this. I knew it was going to come back on Chase. But we'll see what happens next. What else? Let's see. He came to the police station. He still was trying to tell Nathan. He not answering no question. He wanted to talk to Michael alone. But Turner and Dante came in there. And that's when he finally got around to saying that he has an eyewitness that came forward and said that Detective Chase is the one who had the doggone keys. And they just looked at each other. I said, exactly. I said, exactly. He gonna be like, no, I did have the keys, but the key was already on there. I said, the more you try to explain it, the more it's gonna look like a setup. The more it's gonna look like a setup, because then it's gonna be like, what made you think to check his keys and all this other stuff? But yeah, next we got Willow was talking to Drew saying that he was an obstacle. She finally get to see her kids today and stuff. And I said, Drew, he need to gain feeling or something and knock something over, write out a message or something. Because she gonna keep injecting this man. But yeah, She was telling him she gonna get to see her kids and stuff, and he was an obstacle or whatever. She ain't told him that she trying to set up Michael yet though. I wonder if she gonna actually tell. Might as well. She done told everything else. Alexis came. Alexis came and she was like she want to talk to Drew or let him know about Scout and see, if he want to see Scout. So they went in there, and that's when she told. What did she say? If he blink once, that mean yes, and two mean no, or what? And so she just kept going on and on about Scout. And he just kept blinking. He just kept blinking and stuff. And she's like, "You trying to tell me something?" She's like, "Well, I don't know what you trying to say or whatever. I'm gonna go get Willow." He said, I think the first time she said she was gonna go get Willow, and he said no. He said no, and then she was like, she don't understand. So she took her tail out there and told Willow that she think he's trying to communicate. So Willow came in there and she's like, "Oh," what she said? She came in there. She said, "I heard you was trying to snitch on me. I heard you was trying to snitch on me to Alexis. I got something for that." She went in that little cabinet or whatever, got that medication out, the needle, went over there and injected her. He just looking at her. I said, "That's the scared you look." I said, "He gonna get you, girl." You might as well finish him off because he gonna get you. He was just staring at stuff. He's like, "I told the wrong person. I done blinked at the wrong person." I had already seen that clip. What was it? Was it Good Morning America or something? Either way go, it was on YouTube. And Cameron, I'm just say Cameron. I don't know how to say his last name. Mathesis? I don't know. But he was doing the interview and they was questioning him about his character. They did a little sneak peek where Drew was just stood up there blinking and stuff. And that's what I was gonna tell y'all yesterday. He said that the fans take it too far. They done hit him with fruits and everything. Tried to run him over with a car, and I said, okay now, it's time to come back into reality now. I know I heard horror stories about people who experienced stuff like that. I think it was the guy that played on Power. The guy that plays Tyreek, did y'all hear about that? If y'all used to watch Power or whatever, said that they was messing with him, they approach him and stuff. And I was like, dog, some people don't know the difference between fake and real, do they? Well, yeah, they did a sneak peek and I had already seen it or whatever. Next we already talked about Rick was on the phone with Michael. Nathan trying to get Michael to answer his questions and stuff. He went out there and said that he waiting on his attorney and he wasn't able to get it out of him and stuff. And that's when they told him he could leave. Mac, Georgie, James, Felicia was all reunited with Maxie and everything. Spinelli, Brooklyn, and Chase was there. All the kids. I was waiting, and Lulu showed up late. She hugged and reunited with Maxie and stuff like that. And Brooklyn came in, seen them hugging, and Brooklyn said she's not gonna say anything about what was going on between her and Nathan. Lulu ends up telling that they kissed. I said, now she already knows something going on. You ain't have to snitch and tell her about the kiss. But she did say she's not gonna say anything though. But I think she's gonna find out. Spinelli was telling Macy that if she needs time to figure things out, he understands stuff. So she went for a walk. So she ended up same place as Nathan at his grave site. So she seen him, he seen her. They both were smiling and stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's Spinelli. I said, they need to go and reveal if this man is actually Nathan or not. What else? Let's see. Drew and Alexis, we talked about that. Lulu and Maxie was just talking and reuniting, and Lulu was saying she gonna stick beside her, like she stuck beside her. Meanwhile, she in the kitchen or wherever the area was, looking at the Valentine cards on the wall, thinking about Nathan and everything, and her feelings for Nathan. Elizabeth Willow was talking about her reuniting with her kids. She was excited. They came. Rick dropped them off. Wiley and Amelia ran to Willow and everything. She was just so happy, crying. She gave them Christmas gifts and stuff. And Wiley was just telling all the business this episode, wasn't he? He done told that Michael had to go to the police station to get his keys, and Elizabeth was like, I wonder what that's about. Willow's like, so me too. You know what it's about. You know exactly what you did. And why nobody got no doggone cameras? The last thing is Brooklyn and Chase. He was talking about basically he gonna miss having, what's that little girl name, Bailey Lou, there or whatever, and he was like, he's not trying to bring up having a family. And she was like, she thought a lot about it, so she ready. So they met up with Alexis. Alexis said she gonna help them in spite of her may or may not having a commitment coming up. So they finna start the process. And I said, I wonder if he gonna get arrested. But yeah, that's it, y'all. I said, look, it's getting good. I said, it's getting good. He done got caught slipping. Now it look like you set him up. But Michael was saying, he kept saying, he's like, I never had a kid or whatever. So they was like, so you trying to say that one of his family members, because Rick was saying anybody, it's a lot of people there that could have had the keys or anything. So she was like, 88 Turner was like, so you telling me that one of his family members could have set him up? And he was like, I'm not talking about them or anything like that. I'm talking about one person. Detective Chase. So they looked at each other and I said, yeah, it's all starting to make sense, even though it's not what happened. See, they told him to step. It's too many people. They told his tail to stop. And I said, well, now this going to be an issue between Brooklyn and him. I said, but you know, the key was on there because Willow put it there. But it's just his fault because he went set it down there and everything. But yeah, you done got caught sleeping. So he didn't actually see Wiley, y'all. But that's it. That's all. Let me know your thoughts on this episode down below. Stay tuned for the next video. Until next time, deuces. Have a good rest of the day and be safe.